So today we're looking at my 2026 essential camera gear for client work specifically. I don't normally take all of this gear with me on a day like a wedding day. I'll take majority of this gear, but some shoots like portrait sessions or smaller sessions, it won't be all of this. So we'll start with my camera system, which is Sony. So I have two A7 IIIs here, and it's always good to have two bodies for weddings so you can have two prime lenses on them. I'm more of a prime lens user. I do have a zoom, but it's for specific reasons, and also a backup. It's always good to have backup gear. These cameras are great because they have two dual SD card slots, so extra security for you and your clients is very important. So if you're getting into photography, I definitely suggest getting a camera with two SD card slots. That way, if something happens to the first, it'll be backed up in the second. And it's much better to be safe than sorry. So I want to note on the bottom of one of my cameras, which I usually have on both, it's just easier to store when I remove it, except this one you need a wrench, so I just leave it on. This is a part of the spider holster, which essentially this is what goes on the bottom of your camera, and this part hooks to your belt or a backpack, and it's just so easy and secure to stay on. I actually have the spider holster belt. It's got these two pads on each side, so you protect your body from your camera, especially if there's a long, heavy lens on it. But it stays really nice. Don't mind the mess everywhere. But it's on there, and then you, really nice and secure. And then I have extra batteries here. Sometimes I'll keep extra SD cards in here as well. Cleaning cloth, a pouch back here that I'll usually keep a flash in, and then sometimes I put like a water bottle over here. I used to have one of those holsters that would go over your shoulders and kind of swing your cameras everywhere, and I just couldn't deal with that, so I got this instead. A lot of pressure off the shoulder, and I can still wear my backpack if I have to. Granted, it probably doesn't put a lot of great pressure on my hips. If I tend to go near the end of the day of, say, a wedding day, and I'm down to one camera, and I'm a little fatigued, the two I don't really need, so I usually head to a single camera, and I put it on my camera strap here, which I have the Lemur strap. This is super, super nice. If you're looking for a camera strap, I highly recommend them, and I have an affiliate code linked below. And I'm not just trying to sell you this product, I genuinely love it. It has a seat belt mechanism here, so when it's laying across your body, it stays in place, and the strap moves without moving against your clothing. So if you're wearing a backpack over the strap, it's not going to be stuck, it's still going to be able to move. It's very comfortable, and it's got a nice secure plate on the bottom here that you can even quick release as well by pushing this button, and it comes right out, so your hand's free. I think that's really important because when you're stuck with a strap that doesn't move very much and you're stuck with it on, unless you were to take it off, you could be missing out on shots. So I'll showcase more about the Lemur strap because it's really, really awesome, and I want to get some more outdoor footage, but it's winter out right now. I don't want to be in the cold, so just kind of showing it off in studio at the moment. Before I move to my lens kit, I want to go over some more accessories that I have. You always should have a flash on you. I have two of these flashes here. This is a Godox. This is the TT350. It's great. I love it, and it takes AAA batteries. So I also have this little charging case for all of my batteries here on deck. And I have two of these. One is for a backup. You should always have backups, especially if you're doing weddings. Now, it doesn't actually look like this here. This is a part that's extremely rubbery and stays on, but it attaches this awesome lens piece. This is the Magmod flash bulb. I'm not really sure what the exact name of this is, but it helps soften up that flash and doesn't make it extremely harsh, which is really nice and gives you like a good overview of the area instead of this direct flash, which is very nice. I use this mainly for dancing, and so it's also not as harsh as it would be with the direct flash, like flash banging people. Next up, having extra of everything. I'm gonna keep repeating that, but batteries. I have this charging case here, which is also a nice travel case. Two in here, two more, And then I have one in my everyday camera. And I think, okay, I have them in my cameras, but you should always remove your batteries when you are storing your camera, because if they so happen to swell or burst in some way, you're not destroying your camera, you're just destroying your battery. So I'm actually going to be removing those. I have 6 batteries in total. I think actually 7 now. It could be a little excessive, but the worst thing is having a low battery in a long wedding day and you don't have a backup. So it doesn't hurt to always get extras. I have 5 Sony brands and then 2 off-brand small rigs, and they work really great. Some other items here is just like a lens cleaning cloth. So this is like a duster, and then it's got the like cloth like part here. So this is just nice to have if you got some gunk on your lens and you don't have like a soft shirt on you or a lens wipe. It's just really nice to have this in. It's nice and compact. Another thing that I highly recommend is one of these like baby nose things. I'd bring this, that way when you have dust on your lens. I had dust on that lens actually. Blows it off. Sometimes the wipe brush thing doesn't fully do its job. So bring one of these along, and it's super lightweight. It's great to have in your kit. Also have, again, extra SD cards. I usually have one stuck in my cameras. I leave it in the second slot. That's just my backup SD card. It's fine. I leave them in there, but the heavy duty main cards I'll take out and then import, and then I keep kind of to the side until I feel comfortable that nothing's going to happen to the ones on my computer, hard drive, extra hard drive, things like that. It doesn't hurt to have several of these. I have maybe 3 high-end fast ones, which you're going to need for weddings. A lot of people don't understand like what good SD cards are, and then I have like just some high-end standard ones, not as fast, for backup. But I recommend getting, you'll see like this U. I don't know 100% about like the best SD cards, but these are the ones that I use. If you see the little U with a 3 in it, that usually means it's pretty fast. V60 is also pretty quick. I don't know if it's gonna focus. V60. And then of course the gigabytes isn't really, you could get like 500 gigabytes. It's always good to have higher storage, but that's not what's gonna make your SD card the best of the best. You can have high storage, but not fast write speeds. And I think that's very important, especially during quick, fast wedding days where you're burst shooting. So make sure you look into that before getting SD cards, because they can get fairly expensive. Speaking of storage, this is huge. This is something I'm still sort of learning as I go. I edit on an SSD, so this is like fast, and then I'll move everything once it's done into an external hard drive. I forget, this isn't an SSD. This is just an extra. I wonder if the name is on it. Not really sure. I don't know. There's so many letters for everything, but this is an SSD, and this is something a little different. It's much slower. It's very difficult to edit on these things. It's like a disk drive. There's like a disk in here, whereas this one doesn't. So this, I'll edit on here if I don't want to fill up, because I'm using a laptop. I don't want to fill up the storage for that, and it fills up so fast. So I'll be editing on this. Once that's done, I move it over to here, and that way it's safe. But I move it to a second one, as well as a huge storage capacity. It's plugged in right now, but it's like quite large. So I have several backups of things. Good to have multiple of that. Like I will repeat again and again, because you never know when something could fail. And chances are 3 things aren't gonna fail, but 1 thing could 100% fail. So always get backups, because your clients are gonna reach out to you in a couple months saying, I forgot to download. If you don't have your storage online, or you don't want to pay for a subscription and you just have them physically, you can be like, well, no worries, I got it. Let me just re-upload a thing. You can download it there. Or they're gonna be like, hey, a year down the line, I really love this photo. It's black and white. Can you go back and give me a color version of it possibly? And if you write in your contract that you don't keep the RAWs, that's okay. I tend to keep the RAWs as well as the edits. God forbid something happens, I'm still able to give them something or re-edit a specific photo because I have the RAWs. Now, not a lot of people do this because it does take up a lot of space, and that's okay. You can write it in your contract, like, hey, make sure you download these things. I get rid of it in so and so amount of time. That's completely normal, but I like to be like, wow, I do have that. Let me just send it your way. And it makes the client happy and it feels good. And then one more thing is this rinky-dink plastic cover. Sure, gear can be rain resistant, but you never want to be in a situation where your gear gets soaked and you have to be there for your client in some capacity and you don't have anything. At least you have this, and it's going to be a little annoying to use, but it's better than nothing. I fear the day that I have to use that, but I always have it with me just in case, and it doesn't really take up any space in my bag, which I'll get to my bag after I talk about my lenses. So we could talk lenses for hours and days as to what's the best lens and why. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying these are not the top of the line lenses, and I know there is better lenses, but these ones work fantastic for me. They could work well for you. This is what I like, and if you don't like it, that's okay too. Say if you're looking at Sony lenses versus third-party lenses, there's usually a fair amount of difference there. And I personally like the third-party lenses of Viltrox. I have an 85, and I recently got a 50 from them. My 85 is my favorite lens. If I have to do a portrait job, I will absolutely be bringing my 85 along with me. The 85 1.8 is great. It hits perfect amount of low light when I need it, because when I'm mostly in darker spaces, my 85 is way too tight when we have a good amount of space for me to back up. This is fantastic. I love this lens. It's also great for pets. You can stay a fair amount of distance away while still getting beautiful, beautiful bokeh, whatever it is. Now, I'm not a techie person. I'm not going to go into the depths of these lenses. I'm just going to tell you why I like them. So now we'll move on to my 50mm from Viltrox. This one is a little bit better in low light because it is the 51.4, so a few more stops down. And you'll see I have little sticky notes to remind myself where these lens caps go because I'll forget. I also have what I use them for. So this one also says portraits, just like my 85. These lenses are so heavy. So I do have a 50mm that I talked about in a previous video that I absolutely love carrying with me. It's so much smaller and lighter, and I still love using it for portraits. It's a great backup lens, and it's very capable, in my opinion. This one is, the 50 especially, the 85 is much lighter than this 50. This might be my heaviest lens, actually, yeah. It's 85, 50, and then 35. This I tend to keep with me for portraits for mostly indoor shots because it gives a wider field of view and the space can be a little tighter. So say if a wedding moves indoors, this is great. This is also 1.4, so great for low light, perfect for indoors. A lot of like baby showers or like parties inside, I'll go with this 35 because it's great wide, great in low light. And as you can see, I put indoor here. It's just nice for my brain. Like I will know this, but just to confirm, like, that's right, I have this for this. Are we set up for the day? It's great to just label things and make your life a little easier. Those were two Viltrox lenses, but the 35 was a Sigma lens. So Sigma is also a really awesome third party, sometimes very comparable to Sony lenses, and I think Sony coloring as well. So I highly recommend Sigma as well. So then the last two lenses that I have is the Sony 24-50. This is a fantastic backup lens, or if I don't want to take all of these lenses with me, I have a great focal range of 24-50, which is great for indoor, detail, and portraits. 2.8, so not that great in low light, but I mainly use this, again, as a backup, but mostly for rings. So if we're doing any detailed close-ups, this is fantastic for ring shots. It has a really close focus range, whereas a lot of my other lenses I have to back up really far. I will take this out just for those like 3 shots of the ring, just because it's trusty and it does its job well. The last one I have is another Viltrox lens. This is my 20mm. This is 2.8, so not that great in low light, but I use it for dancing. So I will have my flash on me for this. So when I'm in the crowd, I'm close up, you get those really cool wide angle shots, but not super wide where it's kind of weird. It's super, super light. At the end of the day, you're like I don't want to carry any of those heavy lenses. This is it. The 24 was just a little too tight still for me, so I got a 20 just for that. Again, it's Viltrox, so I really love that company. All right, so that was my whole setup. I'm also now going to show you kind of what the bag looks like with all of these things. All right, so usually I will pack my cameras with the lens that I'm going to start the day off with, and that's usually going to be getting ready indoors. So I'll have the 24 to 50 on here to get ready for any of those detail shots, or if the space is kind of tight, I have that focal range of 24. And usually the space is fairly light, but if not, I can switch lenses. Next, I'll have my 35 indoor. Nice and wide, has that low 1.4 f-stop, so that's also great. Normally, I'll have these out or ready to take out and put onto my belt here, which I showed you guys earlier. This is my Spider holster belt, because once I get there, I put the gear on and I'm ready to go. We'll take those out, and then I'll show you how the rest of the bag would sort of be packed. And then I suppose I can leave at least one camera in here and just kind of put this in the car with me with maybe like a seatbelt or something. Anti-gravity system. So when you're using it, it kind of bounces on you and takes some of that weight off your shoulders. As you can see, I don't know if you can see the bounce that it has, but it alleviates that pressure off of your shoulders. And this clasp helps even more. All right, so that was all of my essential gear that I'm bringing into 2026 for my client work mostly. Let me know what your favorite lens is to use on your wedding day, on your family portrait day, or whatever it may be. I particularly love Viltrox, especially that 85. It's just such a sweet spot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.